and more vocabulary. However, in order to graduate, we still need to use all these basic or fundamental for that language to graduate, okay? Up until now, we still use the basic or fundamental of our language as the background in order to understand those language. So we compare when we start to learning about in your language, Hindi, right? Hindi language, right? When you would like to start English, you're gonna start with this process, right? You have to remember about the alphabet. And you cannot simply learn English by using their own first language. In order to learn the new language, we need to do it chronologically. It means step by step and take a long time, okay? And also, you can think that we still need to remember all the fundamental of our language in order to graduate to the highest level of this education. The same as in Dhamma, we need to get enlightenment from Buddha Dhamma. We need to remember all fundamental of the Buddha Dhamma, which is composed of Citta121. This is the first step, okay? I mean, this is the first step. You have to start with this first, Citta 52 and Rupa 28. And we will continue Sikkha in order to get Nirvana. This is the show of how we go, the world language, right? Last week, you study about the world language and Dhamma language, right? We start with the words, alphabet, and so resonance, consonants, consonant, everything, and go to get work, right? Happy with Lopa, Tosa, and Moha. But do you know what we are going after we study? ... This means you have to think about that. I put in the parentheses about apaya, okay? But when we study about the Dhamma language, we start with the Citta, Citta, and Rupa. And we're going to climb real happy. And we go to Nirvana, okay? This is a pathway of the language. However, because of the Buddha Dhamma is very profound, it is not easy to understand. Dhamma language is the unique language which can guide us to Nirvana, okay? It needs time to understand Buddha language. Moreover, there are a lot of Dhamma that we have to know because these are in the Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakanta, which is attained Kampila is in-depth and accurate understanding, which arise from Samma Sambuddha, enlightenment, okay?
Now you have both online banking and...
Pardon? You have a question? Do you have the question? Okay. You must be able to, you must have the ability to differentiate between world language and Buddha language or Dhamma language. However, because there are a lot of Dhamma that you need to know, you must be hurry to Sikkha Dhamma language, but be patient because it's not easy to understand, especially if you cannot start with the memorize with Citta 121, Citta 52, and Rupa 28, which is the fundamental of all Dhamma, Buddha Dhamma. Be patient to listen and be endurance to Sikkha, okay? As a person who call themselves as a Puttha Jarusa, they have their responsibilities to do this duty for Puttha Sasana. It is extremely difficult to find pure and untainted Dhamma, which was left by the Buddha. Therefore, one has to follow the process step by step. Start at this hour, you're going to heard about, you have to memorize about Citta 121, Cetisika with 52 and Rupa 28 to begin with Sikkaya, right? All steps also apply to everybody who decide to start learning Abhidhamma in order to acquire the actual meaning of Buddha teaching. Dhamma is a Paramattha Dhamma, which is unchangeable, in-depth, and profound. The meaning of Dhamma cannot be guessed by individuals. It can only be found through learning, absorbing, and embracing. Okay. Now we're going to start to build up our Buddha Jatavisa characteristic number 1. Okay. Which one? Can you answer? What is the characteristic number 1 or duty number 1? Right? Paramattha Dhamma is mean you need to remember Citta 121, Cetisika 52, Rupa 28, and to the Nibbana. Because Citta and Cetisika make Rupa, that makes things are different. So you can see all around you are different, right? Because we have the components of inside of Citta and Cetisika different. So it's make Rupa different too. Now, when you start with the Citta 121, the first we can divide, you have to remember, we can divide in many reasons, you know. For example, I divide in this Buddha divide Citta 121 into 2 groups called Lokiya Citta 81 and Lokuttara Citta 40. When you start, remember, you start with Citta 121, divide into 4 groups, right? Kāmavacara Citta 54, Rupavacara Citta 15, Rupavacara Citta 12, and Lokuttara Citta 40. You can see the difference between 4 groups. It means in detail, but in 4 groups we can divide. We can come up with the 2 groups. Is Lokiya and Lokuttara. All those you can see in the Lokiya is come up with the Bhumi. It means you can continue to born, right, in 31 Bhumi. But in the Lokuttara, it means you don't have Bhumi to, in terms of Rupa. You don't produce the Rupa. So when you read about the Lokiya 81, it means the Citta which working in Vata, means these Citta are still working, circulating in the cycle of life in 31 Bhumi. And Lokuttara 40 is mean Citta which working in Vivata, mean these Citta of 8 Lokuttara person who can end or stop circulating in the cycle of life. So now you know about, we can divide into 2 groups and 4 groups. In 2 groups, it means Lokiya 81 composed of Kāmavacara Citta 54, Rupavacara Citta 15, Rupavacara Citta 12. It means the first 3 groups we summarize as called as Lokiya. It means it's still born in 31 Bhumi. And the 4th group is Lokuttara Citta 40. When we talk about the Kāmavacara Citta 54, it's related to go to the Bhumi, about 11 Bhumi. And when we talk about Rupavacara Citta 15, it's lead to the Rupavacara Bhumi 16. And Arupavacara Citta 12 can lead to the Arupavacara Bhumi 4. So you can see that the first three groups, you still born and reborn. You are in the circle of the Patitya Samuppada. So it means you born and reborn again in 31 Bhumi, right? But for the fourth group is Lokutala 40, Citta 40. It means in these parts, you don't come and born again, okay? In terms of Bhumi 11, Kāmavacara Citta 54 can divide into three groups. The first group is Akusala Citta 12. You already remember, right? This can lead to Abhaya Bhumi 4. And Ahetuka 18. And also Kāmavacara Sopana Citta 12. This can lead to the human and Deva for 6. When you remember about the Akusala 12, it means they are going to bring you to the Abhaya Bhumi 4, which composed with Niraya, Tirashana. Niraya is mean hill, okay? Tirashana is mean animal. There are a lot of animals. And the third group is Peta. The fourth group is Asura. This is the 4 groups of Abhaya Bhumi. It's come from Akusala 12, okay? And Bhumi number 5 is the human. It means our Bhumi, about a human. And the other 6 Bhumi in Kāmavacara is about the Deva Bhumi 6. The first is Jatumaharashika Bhumi. Second is Tavatinsa Bhumi. The third is Yama Bhumi. The fourth, Tusita Bhumi. The fifth, Nimanarati Bhumi. And the sixth is Paranimittavati Bhumi. The sixth Deva Bhumi is the place that Malathirat come from, okay? So you can see that it is the highest Deva that Malathirat come from, okay? Abhaya Bhumi is, however, there are many details on Nilaya, although they have the divide into 4 groups. In each group have many groups again under that. Nilaya, they have 8 main hills and 448 branches. So in detail, we are going to continue study. Not this time, okay? And the second group is Tirashana. They have the Buddha divided into 4 groups. The group is no legs, 2 legs, 4 legs, and more legs, okay? And the third group is Beta. They can divide into 3 types, 12 types, and sorry, it's 21 types. And also Asula have 3 types. So this is the results of Akusala 12 that lead us to Abhaya Bhumi 4, okay? Manusa is ours, right? Children, adult, elderly or sick people or old people, right? It means manusa. Black, white, or whatever, this is it's still the same, okay? We have only one, Bhumi, manusa. That's why when we say, when we go to be the manusa, it's very difficult. So we explain in the future, okay, why it's difficult to be a manusa. And in Kāmavacara, the third group is the Deva. Deva have the 6 Bhumi. Okay, it's I put in the Thai culture, but in Indian cultures it might have some Deva, right? But it's still in Buddha teaching, divide into 6 level, right? Jatu Maharashika, Tavatingsa, Yama Dusit, Nimadarati, and Paranimitavasavati. Okay, this is all have to be in the Kāmavacara Citta. Okay, that's why when we explain this, why we have to go back that if you cannot remember about the Citta, so it's just hard to, you know, really understand what is why Buddha explained about these kind of things, because it's when you would like to know the cause and effect, you need to know Citta 121, Citta 52, and Rupa 28. Before we go to Rupavacara Citta 15, it's related to the Bhumi 12 and Bhumi 16, sorry, to Bhumi 16. Rupavacara Citta divided into 3 groups. The first group is Rupavacara Mahakusala Citta 5. The second is Rupavacara Vipaka Citta 5. And the last one is Rupavacara Citta Mahakriya Citta 5. So divide in Kusala, Vipaka, and Kiriya. Okay. So this is the Kusala is working. Okay. And Vipaka is the results. And Kriya is being when the Lokutala working. So we might not have this, but we have to know that. Okay. When we talk about Rupavacara Citta, it means all of these have chana. When we go to the name, if you remember, it's going to explain that these all of Citta have a chana. The first chana to 5 to 5th chana. So it means they have chana and they go to be Prami, 16th Bhumi, Prami and Bhumi, okay? Prami is a person, Bhumi is the place, okay? In the Bhumi 16, for Rupavacara, we divide into 6 groups. The first is Patama Chana, it means the first level of Chana, divide into 3 levels, 3 places. Parisacha, Purohita, and Mahabrahma-bhumi. This is all Bhumi for the first or called Patama Chana. And the one who have the Tutiya Chana, they have another 3 level. Paritapa, Apamanapa, Apasala. Okay, this is a 3, 4, 3 Bhumi. And the third is Tatiya Chana. It means they have the level 3 of Chana, composed of 3 level 2. Parita Supha, Apamana Supha, Supapkinahaka. And the fourth is who have the Chatushana, Vehapala. And this one have the Panchamashana, is at the fifth level of Shana, Asanya Satta. But these four is different from others is because they have only Lupa. The Citta is in the work, okay? And the very important part of the fifth floors from the Rupabrahma is we call Sutawat. Sutawat is mean who be the Anakami, at least Anakami will reborn here. But this means that Anakami is not enlightenment yet, right? But they have some Citta, they have to come and born in these 5 levels, composed of Avihan, Atapa, Sutasa, Tutasi, and Akaritaka. It's called Sutawat Bhumi. Next, we have a Rupa. After we Rupa, Vachara Citta, 15. Next, we have Arupa Vachara Citta, 12. These are related to Bhumi, 4. So it's here, divide to the same as Rupa Vachara. They divide, sorry, this is 4, okay? This group is Mahakusala Citta, 4. Sorry, I can change first. This is 4, okay? Rupa 4, 2. Arupa Vachara Citta, 12. We divide into 3 groups, the same as Rupa Vachara Citta. The first is about Mahakusala, right? We call Arupa Vachara Mahakusala Citta, 4. The second group is Arupa Vachara Mahavipaka Citta, 4. And the last one is Arupa Vachara Mahakiriya Citta, 4. It's the same, right? But that's group Rupa has the Rupa. But for this group is Arupa, it means don't have any Rupa, right? But it still have 4 Bhumi. It's composed with Asanya Satta Bhumi, no, sorry. Akasananjayatana Bhumi, Vinyananjayatana Bhumi, Akinchanyayatana Bhumi, and Neva Sanyana Sanyayatana Bhumi. This is a flow for the Arupa, 4 Bhumi. So when we divide into groups, it means it's explained us about how it's working in each Bhumi. Okay, Kāmavacara is related to 11 Bhumi, right? Rupavacara related to 16 Bhumi, and Arupavacara related to 4 Bhumi. And the last group is Lokutara Citta, which divide into 2 groups, Makha and Phala. So we call Lokutara Makha 20 Citta 20 and Lokutara Phala Citta 20. Okay. In each group, divide into 4 groups. Sota Patimakha, Sakatakami Makha, Anakami Makha, and Arahata Makha. Each one have 5 Cittas. When we get Makha, and so we develop to go to the Phala. So we have the same numbers, right? When we get Makha 20, so we go to Phala 22. when we get the Sota Patimakha, so we go to the Sota Patiphala 5. Sakatakamimakha 5, we go to the Sakatakami-phala 5. Anakamimaka 5, we go to Anakamibala 5. And Arahatapala, Ahatamaka 5, go to the Alhatapala 5. Okay, so when we have Makha, when we step up, so we go to the Phala as a Makha is as a cause and Phala is the result. Okay, Vipaka. This is Kusala and Vipaka. Okay. After we remember about the group of Citta, so we go to the summarize about the Cetasika 52. So we divide into 3 main groups of Cetasika. The first, Anyasamana Cetasika 13. Second group, Akusala Cetasika 14. And the last group is Sopana Cetasika 25. In detail, I think you continue to memorize or recite it. But in this time, I just introduce you about the groups so you can understand how they divide it. And because it's in the group, it's have meanings. Don't forget to remember although how they divide in each groups. Okay. The last part is the Rupa 28, composed with the mainly 2 groups, Maha Bhuta Rupa 4 and Upataya Rupa 24. In terms of Maha Rupa 4, so we divide into 4, Patwi, right? Apo, Tesho, and Vayo. Its full name is Patwi Mahaphuta Rupa 20, Apo Mahaphuta Rupa 12, Tesho Mahaphuta Rupa 4, and Vayo Mahaphuta Rupa 6. This is the main of the Rupa. Every Rupa have to have Mahaphuta Rupa 4. And the second group is Upataya Rupa 24. They have 10 groups of them. The first is Pasada Rupa 5. Second group is Visaya Pupa 4. The third group is Power Rupa 2. The fourth is Hataya Rupa 1. The fifth is Citta Rupa 1. The sixth is Ahara Rupa 1. The seventh is Barisha. So, okay, sorry. Ahara Rupa. Paricheta Rupa, yeah. Sorry. Number 8 is, what is that? Vinyati Rupa 2.
Yeah.
Number 9 is
Vikara.
Vikara Rupa 3 and Lakkhana Rupa 4. Okay, in each one you have to remember all detail of each Rupa, right? This is Rupa is results of Cit and Cetasika working together. Okay. As a Putta Jatuparisa, we need to remember how many groups of each terms, heading of each topic, each section, and also in detail of their composition. That's all. That's just only on the number 1 duty or responsible for the Putta Jatuparisa. However, we would like you to concern about when you going to read about the Tipitaka. in order to prevent papa, it means lead us to apaya, right? For our groups, major concern that's not be taken into account when read the Tipitaka. First, because of the enlightenment Dhamma of the Buddha, it's very profound and difficult to see, difficult to understand, calm and sublime, unable to think for by themselves or not to come to the conclusion by guess. So it means that you cannot guess, no, you have to listen what the Buddha said, and you cannot, conclude it by yourselves, okay? The second thing is, Buddha explained that the ocean are descent in order, slope down in order, not as steep as the mountain throne. So the Vinaya is the same when Sikkha have to be followed step by step in a logical order of practice, in an order of attainment, and deep down in the Dhamma in order. It means you not be, you hurry to study, but not impatient to take time to understand, okay? This is the sample that the ocean is mean the coastline is slope, is step by step. It's not cut down as the mountain tone, right? So it means when you study the Dhamma, because of it's very profound, you need to learn step by step, and no one can suddenly knows it. Although in the Tipitaka, if you listen that, oh, some people will listen to the Buddha and the enlightenment, but you don't know about the past because they already accumulate for a long, long time until they can enlightenment. Okay, it's not just sudden understand. You have to have some, past accumulate of the Dhamma before. And the third thing is when you reading Sutanta Pitaka and Vinaya Pitaka, please do not compare with those present in the Tipitaka, such as Brahmi, Deva, human, Tirashana, or Peta, who met the Buddha. Especially for the Lokutara person, Sotapanna, Sakatakami, Anakami, and Arahanta. And also do not criticize Bhikkhu or Bhikkhuni, Upasaka and Upasika, who was the example in the process of the first Vinaya formulation. Sometimes when we read in the Sutanta or Vinaya, when the Buddha would like to formulate the Vinaya, so it has some people to do the wrong of Vinaya, so Buddha can set up for the Vinaya formulation. So it means that the person in the Tipitaka is come up to be an example for us to build up the Buddha Sasana. So you cannot blame, because they weren't here to be the one who be an examples for us, for Buddha to formulate the Buddha Sasana, okay? Remember, don't criticize, don't compare us with the person in the Tipitaka. And also the fourth concern is if you do not understand while reading Tipitaka, you have to think that you don't have enough Dhamma knowledge, which is not profound enough to understand. Prohibit to analyze, critique, criticize, complain, blame, be insulting, or be respectful or offensive. And also teach Dhamma based on your own decision by using the world language. Okay, so last week we understand about Dhamma language and world language. it's totally different, okay? For example, and the first we talk about the Rachathiraj asking Buddha to enter Parinibbana. Some people might compare that. Why? This is not a good guy, right? Rachathiraj. But is it possible that the Deva on the 6th floor is come up to do the bad things, right? You have to profound understanding to understand in the Sutanta Pitaka, right? As I said first, Marathiraj, he is the future Bodhisattva. He already was Payagon by the Buddha, Puttha Kassapa. Okay, so it means the one who will be the Bodhisattva come to us. They have some reason, right? The reason is he have to learn from the Buddha about how to set up Puttha Jatuparisa and also know about the things that he have to learn from the Buddha. Okay, that's the reason. There are many reasons when we talk it later in the futures, right? And also in the Sutanta, some people might say, why people so easy to enlightenment in the Tipitaka? Because especially in the Sutanta Pitaka. For example, Asashithera told Upatissa or the Sariputta Thera about the same Dhamma that Buddha teach to Asashithera. And then Upatissa get the enlightenment as the Sotapanna, right? So we say, oh, why it's easy. We are talk about that last week, right? About the when Buddha Tesana Kāmavacara Citta in the Sutta Pitaka. Anya Gotanya Thera, right? He enlightened about the Sotapanna after listen to the Kāmavacara Citta, right? But the other force of Panjavaki did not enlightenment to be a Sotapanna, but he has to listen this Dhamma to enlighten for the Sotapanna, right? So it means that if we know about the Citta, Cetasika, so we're gonna know that under that, they have some rules and some reasons that why they don't enlightenment, and also how the one who enlightenment, how it's happened, because they have this kind of citta in 1021 to explain how they can enlightenment, right? For example, in the Shana, Rupavacara is have Shana, and also in the Lokutala, they already have Shana too, right? So if you remember, it's gonna understand why it's in the Sutanta. Person can enlightenment. Okay, for the 5th concerns, if you read or teach only Sutanta Pitaka or Vinaya Pitaka, which Buddha tell about story of Buddha Savaka, because all of them are the result of vipaka of their life, you will not understand why they can enlightenment. Just explain about that. You cannot understand why they can enlightenment suddenly and why did this happen. And moreover, not only not understand, moreover, if you study only the Sutanta Pitaka or Vinaya Pitaka, you cannot go to the Nirvana, because these are only the vipaka you don't know the cause which is appear in the Abhidhamma Pitaka, which can extinguish Rupa and Nama and lead to Nirvana. Okay. And the sixth concern is you need to be able to differentiate between world language and Dhamma language in order to understand Buddha Dhamma. If you use translation words by words in world language to understand Buddha Dhamma, it will block your knowledge or understanding about the Buddha Dhamma. Very important concern. We cannot use or make our own judgment about the Dhamma. Okay. It's just example of the first responsible for the Buddha Chaturparisa. For the second, Buddha Chaturparisa must be able to correct, present, advise, and teach others follow properly in accordance to the Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakanta. It means if you would like to do the second characteristic or taken the duty or responsible, you mean you have to pass on the first items, right? In order to do the second, you have to know, understand Buddha Dhamma, and after that, you can teach to others to know the same as you, okay? For the second characteristic of the Buddha Chaturparisa, which come with the duty and responsible. When someone criticizes, insulting, and show wrong teaching, Buddha Chaturparisa must be able to clarify, explain, and correct correctly to them according to the Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakanta. After you know the Dhammakanta, Buddha Dhammakanta, whenever you face with a person you not really know Buddha Dhamma and teach with the misleading and you need to protect the Buddha. Not the Buddha, because Buddha already parinibbana. It means we have to protect Dhamma of Buddha by correcting that mistake. Not only they destroy Buddha Dhamma, but they also take away or block the way of other person who listen to them from enlightenment. You know, we do on the characteristic number 3 to protect the Buddha Dhamma and also to help other people. You know, if someone believe the wrong one, so it means they cannot go to the enlightenment, right? However, as we talk a lot, we do not blame who else. We not argue with other beliefs. We always would like to explain to the people to know the real Dhamma, Buddha Dhamma. And also, we have to concern you don't use your own background knowledge. You need to reason and using cause and effect judgment and listen until you see the truth. However, when you would like to tell other people about the correct, you have to use a strategy to explain, you know, because some people might angry. You have to wait and see and use some strategy to tell them soft, you know, because although we are good hard to tell them, but they might not, sometimes they might not understand, okay? Okay, so we spend about 1 hour and 10 minutes. Do you have any question? You can raise your hand.
Hello, teacher.
Yeah, do you have any question?
Yeah, actually, I'm speaking from Vaishali, Bihar only.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Like you see, the classification of Buddha language is really very complex,
Yes.
and to understand it on the conscious level, then on mind level, is would be really very tough for any common man to understand. So I believe that a proper lucid note or lecture on every word that Buddha said through his
Can I see your
book or
face?
through his sorry ma'am, I'm in a wrong position right now, that's why I'm
Okay,
unable to
okay,
show you the face, but otherwise I'll use it.
okay.
So what I'm trying to submit here is that see, attraction towards Buddhism is so much immense even in India, but the lucidity of the religion is missing, because we have lost the language that Buddha has preached. We have lost the essence that Buddha has preached over here. But for that sake, even we have Tripitaka that we read in English, undoubtedly, and we are more familiar with the terms that Buddha has used, because it is the language is more or less very much related to Hindi language. It has originated from Sanskrit or Pali. So we have the essence of those words, but not in that sense, not in great sense, the way Buddha has preached. But still, what we think is, as a disciple of Buddha, we need at least a good lecture on every word, that the way Buddha tried to interpret it to his disciples.
Yeah.
Because it is very tough to understand, very tough. It is really very tough to understand so much of a classification, and that would be just memorizing it like the alphabets and understanding the words. I believe a word will not work. Rather, when the word will get inculcated into soul and will reflect into the behavior, then only Buddha's preaching will become successful for us. So, ma'am, we need something like a good either lucid notes from your side, or some good book, or even if you are organizing lecture, then every aspect of that preaching that Buddha said. So this is what my submission is.
But you know, in order to understand the Buddha teaching, we have to accept that we are just the starter, right? So we like a kindergarten. So we need to memorize on the first basic knowledge of the Buddha first. That's why in this class, I always said you need to remember Citta121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28, because it's like the alphabet. If you would like to know the Buddha language, if you don't have any alphabet, any vowel, any consonants, you will be unable to understand. Because when Buddha explained how it's worked by Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, that is can make us clearly understand what the Buddha teach. That I understand you, because most people would like to know what is mean. But when we explain, we explain under the words of basic of Buddha. That I say in my lecture is, when although you go to be the doctor, you still has a basic knowledge of words, right? You have to clearly at that part that you would like to know more, but you don't know the basic. If you don't know the basics, it means you cannot go up further, because it has based on the basic. Everything have to have based on the basic first. That's why I emphasize on remember Citta 121, Citta 52, and Rupa 58, 28. Okay, because just like I explained you, if we would like that, we might say that, oh, when we say, when listen to the Kāmavacara Citta, why Anya Gotanya Thera get Sotapanna? We say we already listened a long time ago. We know Aliyah Satya, we know everything, but we don't know why in his Citta working, right? What is their base? What is their fundamentals that they can accept from the Buddha teaching and get enlightenment? So that's why if I would like to explain a lot, but if you don't have any basic, it's hard to understand. That's why we have to accept that we are just the kindergarten. We have to start with the basic alphabet.
Yeah, but I can understand. You know what, basics are really very tough. After learning something, one can easily understand many things.
Yes.
So that was my question only, that basic is really very tough to inculcate basic in such a way that we can really become disciple of Buddha in the right way. For that only, I asked for there should be more lecture on every word of Buddha, like all aspect of Citta.
Yeah.
Every word that he said.
After
go
you
into more deep into it.
Yeah, but after you remember all of that, it's easy, because when we explain that, we're gonna say about which Citta working, which Cetasika working, how it's work together. Okay. But if you don't remember, although I say that, you cannot understand, because if I said about the chana, Lokuttara have 5 chana, right? Prathama chana, Tutiya chana, right? Tatiya chana, but you cannot remember that Lokuttara have their chana and how it's composed of each Citta, right? That's why I have to say that you need to remember, or at least you have to read, and you can recall that when we say this, you recall that what is mean, right? That's a main concern for me when we started to, for me too, at first, if everybody who studied, if don't remember the Cetasika and Rupa, it's difficult, it's hard to understand. It's just always questions, because you don't understand the process, right? Because although in Citta, when we continuing study in detail, although, for example, I give you about the Lopa first. Somanas sahakatang titikata sambayutang asankharikang Kāmavacara akusala lopa muradita. In each word, they have a components that explain how it's work. Okay, Somanat is mean Vedana. So you don't know Cetasika. So I explained that you don't know where is it, right?
Yeah, I can understand, ma'am.
Yeah, that's why you need to understand first. And after you get more and more deeper understanding, because the Dhamma of Buddha is very profound. Every word have their meanings, you see. We cannot translate as simple as we do the dictionary. But if you remember Cetasika and Rupa, after that, you're gonna accumulate, the details of each word's meanings in terms of Dhamma language. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
I hope I can
teacher.
explain to you.
Great teacher.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, you can ask Sankamita, because we already split out the Cetasika and Rupa. If you would like to remember, because I can say that it's only way that if you would like to know, understand the Buddha Dhamma, you have to remember Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. At least that is the basic.
Basic.
That is a start. Only the start. It's just like a kindergarten. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Welcome. Okay. So is there any question? Okay. So we sati ariyamaka.
มีสติสามัญญภาระเอกนิพพานะ โดยเฉียบพลันในประวัติการนี้เทินสาธุ สาธุ สาธุ นาวุติอุปเอธิพันธะอนุโมทามิค่ะป้าหนุ่ย
I hope you understand. So go back to hurry to remember Cetasika and Rupa. Okay.
โอเค
Okay.
โอเค
And
ค่ะ
if you have any question, you can write in the lines, right? In the mega, I don't know, ask to Ping, so we can correct the question and we can answer if we can. Okay. Okay. Bye bye. Satu.
สาธุค่ะ
Ah,
สาธุค่ะป้าหนุ่ย
ah.
สาธุสาธุ
โอเค สาธุ to everyone
อนุโมทามิ
ค่ะพี่หนุ่ย
Satu ka.
ค่ะ ไปแล้วนะ
Ah.
สาธุสาธุสาธุ
Satu ja. Kem pong.
แก้มป่องเลย
Satu ka.
สาธุค่ะสาธุ everybody
Satu everybody. So Sankamita, you need to ask your student to remember, and you too, right? You almost 52, so you left about how much? 12, 15, 12, and 40, right? So it's been 67. Oh, a little. So you can continue. Okay. Bye-bye.
บ๊ายบายค่ะ see you next class
See you next class. Yeah.